live. Here we go. Okay, so I'm now live on YouTube. Excellent. Hello, welcome to YouTube, everybody. We're there now. So, okay, I'll see you all there, everyone on TikTok. Thank you for watching me if you're not coming over, but please do. Like I say, there's a link in my profile on TikTok. I'll see you there soon. Bye-bye. Okay, I had to turn off TikTok, everybody. I hope this is working. There's no one here listening to me do this live, but you'll see this on the recording. It's all good. I've just done the most awful tease to the TikTok audience. Because they asked a question and I said I'll answer it live on YouTube. I'm sorry. But this is self-marketing, I think, and that's I think am I sat in the right place? And that feels weird, and my hair's a mess. And hello to YouTube. Am I live? We're live. We're live. Let me put out tweets. Let me do all kinds of things. Oh, we're live on the interwebs. And there's Rebecca. Hello. I'm just waiting for everybody else to turn up. Bear with me. We're doing it. We're doing it. It's happening. I'm just tweeting and stuff like that. You were very quick on the draw, you see, Rebecca. Oh, what has that done? Oh, yeah, and Twitter is just a big X now, isn't it? Because Elon's just so clever. Elon's so much like me before the therapy. Right, okay. Still waiting for people. It takes people a minute. And we just have to hang around. Am I joining threads? Fuck no. No, I'm not. Hang on, let me do my... Right, the thing with threads, I was thinking this the other day, is it's showing me a rather... Oh god, my screen's going weird as well now. Ignore this, it's all fine. I'm interested in the psychology of it all, really. In as much as I find it very interesting that you've got all of these people, most of whom seem to be left-leaning politically, who have seen Elon Musk buy Twitter and they've lost their shit. They've really gotten upset and angry, and they've decided, I hate Elon Musk so much, I can't possibly use Twitter anymore. And they've looked for an alternative, and they've gone to Mark Zuckerberg. And you're just like, I'm not sure you've made an upwards move there. I think that is at best a lateral move in terms of how bad the guy running the thing you're using is. Right? Mark Zuckerberg is no smarter than Elon Musk. He is no nicer than Elon Musk. He has no better sense of morality and human decency than Elon Musk. He is a cretin. And I have absolutely no time for Mark Zuckerberg. And it's kind of left me with this weird parallel to draw. But I started to understand the mindset behind reasonable Republicans voting for Donald Trump. It's like you just get caught up in the thing that you hate so much that you don't think enough about the alternative that you're choosing. And it's like, yeah, I get that you fucking hate Hillary Clinton. I get that. I cannot sit you here and tell you that I think Hillary Clinton is a good person. But look at the alternative. And in the same way, it's like, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Twitter is a brilliant functional website and Elon Musk is a fucking genius, because he's fucking not. But why are you thinking Mark Zuckerberg's any fucking different, you idiots? Anyway, that was not what I wanted to start the show with. But if you want to talk about narcissistic personality disorder, then Elon Musk is a good place to start. That's just one of those. So no, I'm not joining Threads. I have enough to think about and enough platforms to deal with on my own. And my brain only generates so much shit to share with you people. You don't want me on Threads. I have nothing constructive to add to Threads. I don't even have anything constructive to add to Twitter. I just still use it. And I don't think that adding to that is positive for anybody. That's kind of where I am with it. What was I going to tell you about? The worst split ever. The biggest split ever. My split on me. That was it. I was asked this question. What's your worst split ever? A couple come to mind. A couple of them come to mind, right? But my biggest was when I split on everything in my entire life. And within the space of a couple of months, I closed down a business I'd been running for 15 years. Left a relationship that I'd been in for 15 years. And moved house. I split on fucking everything. Everything. My entire life and every aspect of it. Except the dog ownership. And that was when I stopped podcasting. As I say, broke up with my partner of 15 years. Everything was wrong. Everything needed to change. I didn't know what I needed it to change to. But I split on absolutely everything. And that was, long term, that's what led us here, right? That's what led us to this. But at the time, just unbelievable and massive upheaval. And luckily, I regret that it happened. I regret that it needed to happen. But I don't regret doing it. Not a violent split, but a biggie. A fairly big one there. Just split on everything. There are a number of people that I split on and have no intention of ever either apologizing to or doing anything about that. I remain as split on them as saying split seems unfair at this point. I mean, I guess it was at the first instance when I went from liking people to absolutely fucking loathing them. But there are a number of people who overnight went from me being their best friend in the world to, honestly, if something bad happened to them, I would giggle a little bit. Like I wouldn't want to cause anybody any harm. I don't necessarily wish any unpleasantness on anybody, but if it happened and I heard about it, there'd probably be a bit of a good kind of thing. And I remain as stoic and sat on that as I was the day it fucking happened. No problem there with that whatsoever. That is exactly what I wanted to have happen. So I remain just totally stuck on that entirely. And then there's the really sad group of people, which is a very small group of one person who I split on and wished I hadn't. And never got the chance to sort that in person and won't now. Which is forever a pain I shall carry with me. I think that won't ever stop hurting. It just gets quiet and I forget about it. But if I think about it, it hurts again. And that one, yeah, I get to carry that one forever, I think. So splitting is never good. Splitting is never good. And I advise against it massively, except in the times when I've done it and I still hate those fuckers. Really do hate a lot of people from my past, actually. A lot. I mean, there's no point in naming them because you don't know who they are, but I know who they are. And when I think of them, even just the memory of the sound of their voice makes me cringe and want to vomit. Because I hate those people so much. So very much. And fuck them. So there you go. Splitting has its ups and its downs. As usual, I would say do it tomorrow. That sort of thing. But at the same time, I don't know. When it's been this long, God, you know, the number of emails and messages I get from people who are saying things like, my best friend split on me 2 weeks ago. Do you think they're ever going to unblock me? And I always have to say, I don't know, mate. I don't know. Like, sometimes we come back round. And yet there are people that I split on 4, 5, 6 years ago that I have no intention of ever changing that. Right? And I would, if I ever bumped into them again, I would just say the worst thing I could think of to say to them. Right? With the intention of hurting and or upsetting them. That's what I would do. Because, and I cannot stress this enough, I really hate those people still. So when people ask, are they going to come back to me? Maybe not. Maybe not. People who split on you may come back to you. I will never promise you that they will. And I can't give you a time frame for that. Because like I say, there are people I split on 4 or 5 years ago. It's not going back. It's just never going to change. Which is why you have to sort of be really certain about things before you do anything. I think. You really do. But it's been a while since I've done a big split. And it's been a while since I've done a split that I've done anything about as such. Because look, that's the difficult bit with all of it, isn't it? Right? Not just not doing the split, but getting over it. You know, sorry, not doing anything about it. If you don't do anything about it, then the split becomes kind of irrelevant, doesn't it? And you reach a point where you can recognize, I'm splitting now. I'm doing this black and white thinking thing. I am suddenly just so angry at this person. And I wasn't angry at them yesterday about anything ever. Yesterday, they were my best friend in the whole world, and now I hate them. And you can identify these triggers and see it happen, and you can stop it happening as it's happening. You don't have to split. You don't have to destroy your life and your relationships every time. You can do something alternative to that. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. But it's totally doable, you know? Clearly, I didn't bring that many people from TikTok over. Are you still with me, Rebecca? I'm sure you are. I mean, but the hate, not hating anybody for more than a few months. Yeah, I can totally do that. I can hate people forever. Or indefinitely so far. You know? There have been plenty of people that I've fallen out with, and after a while, I just don't care anymore. Right? I had a very big public falling out with a friend once. Right? This was a big deal. I can't remember what year it was. Hi, Dr. Ruth. Good to see you. Um, the big falling, I fell out with like a really close friend that I was in business with, that I knew from university, and we'd worked together. We did all sorts of stuff, and we started that podcast company that I was at working together. And I split on him so much one day. He said something that had a go at my dog, right? And I split on him immediately. Hated him. Just we were done. I fired him, and no one even knew I could do that. Right? It was absurd. It happened very publicly in on shows, on stuff like that. It was talked a lot about. It was very conspicuous that this person was suddenly not there. There were interview requests and shit like that. Like, what happened between you two? And I never really spoke. I didn't say much publicly about it at the time. But it didn't, as angry as I was at the time, as much as we fell out, I'd love to see him now and hang out. And we kind of, to us and hello, we did make up again a couple of years later. And because it really didn't take long after that happened for me to reach a point of, I just don't care anymore. Whatever. I'd rather have a friend and someone I get on with than carry a grudge and whatever over something dumb that was said ages ago. And all of that anger, anything that I felt, left me pretty quick. And I certainly don't carry any of that with me now. So that was a huge split that sorted itself out one way or another. I wish my friend hadn't moved to another country. That has made, actively remaining friends a bit difficult, as it does. But on the few occasions that I've seen him since that big falling out and making up, it's always been very positive. I've always been very pleased to see him and that sort of thing. So I can come back from it. I just don't always do that. But I guess it depends what I've split on. If it's something that I know rationally is a bit ridiculous, then it's easy to come back from it. Right? That makes sense, right? If it's something that you can go, well, I was right at the time, because I've never split on anyone and felt like it was wrong. It's always been dead certain. There's always been an enormous, almost infinite pile of evidence that proves how right I am to be splitting on this person and why they're the most awful person ever in the world. At the time, it was all correct, but it's rarely right. It's very rarely entirely correct. So when you sort of in the cold light of day, this is why I always say do it tomorrow. Like when you look back at it and you can go, oh shit, no, I was wrong about everything. I just said some horrible things to Mike for no reason whatsoever, for stuff I just imagined. Then you can get over that pretty quick. But when it's other things like, a prolonged event or the way someone has behaved over time or whatever, and it just gets so much harder. Right? We can split on things for people that are genuinely their fault. Right? Splitting is sometimes the way we've perceived something from a person, but that's not to say it's always that. Sometimes people do really dick things to us, and we decide to hate them based on that. And maybe they overreact, maybe the reaction is overboard, but they've still genuinely done something that most people would be annoyed with. And I think we just take it and run with it to the nth degree, right? Have I been told I seem like a different person when I split? Um, yeah, kind of feels familiar, but I'm not sure. I don't know that anyone's ever used that exact uh, phrasing with me either. To be perfectly honest, I'm not sure that they have. But I do get like a different person. And it's because look, if I've reached a point where I've split on someone, then God, right. So this is that example of BPD and NPD working together, right? Once I've split on you and I've decided that you're a very bad person because you are of course very very good and my best friend, or you're very very bad and I hate you and wish you were on fire, right? And once you've crossed over from one to the other, then all of that BPD, empathy, and fear of abandonment, and please don't leave me, and whatever, that goes out the fucking window. And you go into a proper dehumanized form for me. And at that point, it feels like the MPD steps in with a dry smile on its face and says, I'll take over from here. I know how to hurt somebody, so let's do that. And once I've reached that point and the BPD is left, and it's like, those are the glimpses into the darkest thoughts and the darkest moments and times that I've ever had. The worst things I've ever said. The things that it's genuinely, look, and I'm a very open, honest person on this channel. I say a lot of really personal stuff. And there is stuff that I have said to people during that dehumanized stage of splitting that I have trouble repeating to you. Right? I am reminded of have you seen the new John Delaney special on Netflix where he's talking about the things he went through with his coke addiction, and he tells you a story of something he went through to get some coke one night and says at the end of it, and just remember, think that story is bad. Remember, that's the one I told you. Right? That's the one that I was willing to put on a Netflix special. I don't think that that's the worst one. And my channel is very much the same. Right? This is, you think I'm open and honest, and I am, but like 95%. I hold some stuff back. And it's not necessary to sort of tell you the details of all of this stuff, which is what it is I'm holding back. You just need to know I've said some pretty fucking shitty, awful things. Right? I used to take great pride in how well I could make somebody cry. That I was so proud of that. Like, so proud of it. Delighted in it. Like, I can feel that pride right now of knowing that whoever you are, whatever you do, and most crucially, however tough you think you are, however physically you feel you might be like bigger than me or stronger than me or more, physically intimidating, whatever, I will make you cry like a fucking baby and beg for your mother. Right? And when I think about some of the people that I've done that to, there's this simultaneous feeling of, yeah, that fucking pride is still there, right? Like, when I think I made that guy cry in front of me. Do you remember the look on his face when you said that sentence? And you didn't want to say it. You knew how bad that sentence was, but you knew all of those things that hold you back from saying that sentence weren't there. And you said it and it felt so good. And you saw that look on his face, which kind of looked a bit like you imagine somebody looks like as they're being stabbed. Like that look of shock and horror and, oh my God, what are you doing to me? That kind of face, I saw that look on his face. And I did that to him from across the room with words. And I felt the power that came with that, and the oh, what I could do with that was all there. And there's no guilt and shame there that stopped it happening. There was no empathy. There was no, like, but what will this person do as a result of hearing this? No, it was just fucking loved it. I can still feel it. It's still there. That feeling. Yeah, but I don't tell you what I said. I don't go into that detail because you don't need to know. But it was the thing. It was very much a thing, and I used to enjoy that a lot. But it's fucking horrific behavior. Absolutely horrific behavior. And look, it's easy to see where it comes from, right? This is narcissistic lashing out, narcissistic rage at somebody genuinely bigger and more physically intimidating than me. And this is that fear. This is me proving that, hey, look, you're bigger than me. I can still hurt you. I can maybe hurt you more than you can hurt me. And it's a defense. It's a barrier. It's a sort of, there's no fucking digging deep we need to do to figure out where that came from, right? That's a simple, straightforward one. Yeah. There's darkness in here. And it can come out in a split. It's horrible. Every I think of the people who left group therapy as a direct result of me. Like there were people for whom, like, being in group therapy was not the challenge. Being in group therapy with me was the fucking challenge. It was at least 3 people over the course of 3 years. I got 2 in one go. And then I got a third one a little bit later on. And do you know what? I still have to reconcile how I feel about that. I don't it's not a proud moment, is it? That, and there's an element of, well, did I cut off someone else's treatment? Like, I stuck it out. I still got my treatment, right? I got better. And I like to think that I wouldn't do that to somebody now. So maybe, I benefited from doing that in therapy because the group got to see it. I got to see it. The therapist got to see it happen. It was another one of those times where the pens were going furiously on the notepads, that sort of thing. And there's no doubt that I benefited from doing that, like, from a mental health perspective. But those other 3 people didn't. They left. They didn't go back because of what I said to them. And yeah, there's that. There's where the guilt and shame comes. Like, because I still feel like I took treatment away from 3 people. I made it so they couldn't have it. I mean, I didn't literally say you must never come again, but I got them to a point of not wanting to. And one of those people was on her first fucking week. Right? There was one on purpose, one by accident, and one sort of on purpose. And the accidental one I feel bad about, but also, I don't know, I struggle with that one. Because I didn't, that was someone who didn't want to be around conflict. Not someone who was involved in the conflict. And I don't know how much responsibility I have for that, to be perfectly honest. Or how much of that is some sort of rationalization for the fact that I did a bad thing. But, I didn't shout at that person. They were just in the room. That's an odd one. Hi, Sarah. It's such a quiet night, by the way. This is a disturbingly quiet Monday. It's one of those. I know, I'm just talking now. I do need to get my Dark Thoughts hand puppet back. I have another one as well, because I keep finding them. I've told you this story, haven't I? My dog Paisley eats toys like they're going out of fashion, so you don't buy him nice dog toys. Children's toys live longer, for a start, because they're held to much higher safety standards and quality standards than dog toys. So you buy your dog children's toys. You don't buy new children's toys. He's just going to eat them. So I visit a lot of charity shops buying kids' old stuffed toys and that sort of thing for the dog. And I encounter a lot of different hand puppets. And I kind of just always get them because they're charity shop fodder, right? They're like £1 or something like that. And that's how you end up with a Dark Thoughts hand puppet. And I have one for BPD Fears, but he's downstairs. He's a little brown bear thing that I found, and I can't. I need to get them into more videos. There aren't enough hand puppets in Cluster B mental health videos. This is what happens when someone is raised on the Sooty Show, by the way. This is it. I apparently always just wanted to run the Sooty Show, and now I feel myself wanting to do it in Cluster B form. Instead of Sooty and Sweep, I have Dark Thoughts and Fear. Oh dear. But I don't know, it kind of helps in hand puppet form, doesn't it? It kind of helps. I don't know quite where to go from there. You're also very quiet. It's kind of painful at this point, so I don't know what to do. But you know, yeah, I just keep rambling at you, don't I? Dear, oh dear. Did you see the TikTok thing, by the way? The where are we on the stigma? I've had more comments on the TikTok video. My problem, right? So I did that big. You've seen my last video, the fighting the stigma video. The words wouldn't come. You've seen the fighting the stigma video, and the trouble is that is a reply to something that unfolded on TikTok, which is no good. But I can't rant for a quarter of an hour on TikTok. And I've got it's nearly up to 10,000 views, that one now, which is still nothing. My TikTok's being off these days. I'm still getting so many comments. We love the stigma. Haha, good job. I feel like everyone can be manipulative, no matter if BPD, NPD, or anything else. That one just pisses me off, right? Do you know, because that's just a constant. Oh, anyone can do these things. Or when you like talking about the symptoms of NPD and people go, well, everybody has that. No, it comes down to the person and not their mental illness. No, it does. Shut up. Thank you for generalizing an entire group of people in a bad light. I will absolutely never watch any video from you again. Oh, dear. Anyone can be manipulative. Thanks for adding to the stigma, though, I guess. And then I have reviewed or deleted comments. What is this? Garbage. People just... oh. And yet, I get two mixes of reactions when I say it to people. When I say people with BPD are manipulative. And some of them look at me and confused and go, but we are. I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, we are, I'm manipulative. I know. Like, so why that? I don't know. And the only conclusion I can get to is that some people are like, just don't talk about the bad shit we do because people think we do bad shit. It's like, but we do. We do, though. We do the bad shit. And in my head now, it's like these people would like, it's like trying to fight racism without ever acknowledging that black people have darker skin than white people. It's like that's one of the main causes of racism right there. You can't just pretend. And you're like, are we fixing racism by walking around going, but everybody has the same color skin? It's like, no, because then it would never have started. We just got to acknowledge differences. What we then talk about is how those differences are not cause for all anger and hatred and all of these other things, and nuances and all of that. And not grouping people together just because they're all of, because they have one thing in common and that sort of thing. And so we don't get rid of the stigma of BPD by not acknowledging that we do fucked up shit. Because we absolutely do fucked up shit. Without a doubt, we absolutely do. And so, yeah, if it angers people when I mention it, then then they're just going to keep getting angry with me. It's just one of those ones. And so I'm just, I'm happy to talk about the bad shit that we do. And like I said in the video, if someone is just willing to like dismiss us based on stuff they've heard other people talk about or other people do, then I'm not losing anything. I'm not losing anything with those people. They are, people who are just like, they're already not there to listen to me. They've already checked out when they've heard BPD. They're not interested in listening to nuance or about me as a person or you as a person or whoever. They've just heard a thing and they go, oh no, and they're done. And I haven't got time for people like that. I haven't got time for people like that are so... I don't know that closed-minded feels the right way of putting it, but set in their ways. They've made a decision already and it's not going to change. And nothing I'm going to say or do is going to change it. And if somebody's looking for a video on whether people with BPD are manipulative or not, they've already met someone who is. Right? They've already done that. They're not looking for a video from me as proof of that. Right? And anyone who's using me as proof of anything, I'm not a good source. Get multiple ones. But it just all strikes me as a bit nuts. And I don't know. Also, I'm learning the more I upset people, the more I just want to double down on it. Like, you tell me you're upset, I just love that. And I don't know what to do with that. It's probably not good. I've been the least reactionary with stuff this time. Like, that video that I put out on Friday, I wanted to put one out much earlier in the day. It was going to be much shoutier, much swearier, and much more angry and demeaning to people and all that sort of thing. And I wasted most of my day just sat forcing myself to do anything but make a video. Because that was one of those times when I just wanted to make a video so much to shout at people and tell them off. And I know I was going to go over the top. And it was the tiny victory that I managed to last until I think it was early evening time-ish. Something like that I managed to last until, and then lost my shit. And I didn't lose my shit as much as I normally would. So I have to acknowledge the bad shit. I'm not punishing us for it. I'm punishing myself for it. But being able to acknowledge it then allows me to deal with it and not do it anymore. I can't pretend it's not happening in the first place. Because if I can pretend that it's not happening in the first place, then what am I doing? What's the point of any of this? If we can just pretend that we don't do bad things, why are we worried? What's your fucking problem with having it? We're dealing with people with it. Why is there any discussion going on? We're just pretending that nobody does anything bad, right? Healing. Why are you healing? You've not done anything bad. People with BPD don't do anything bad. Do you even fucking need therapy? You know, if we're just going to pretend, then what's the point? Right? Why don't we just get people in and say, well, have you tried pretending that you don't have any trauma? Have you tried just pretending that all of this, you know, whatever, that didn't happen? If we can just pretend and not face reality and not deal with stuff and take responsibility for stuff, and there's no fucking point to any of this. And so I'm not, you know, not hiding it at all. Nope. And you know what? To be honest, I think a lot of people didn't like that I compared it to narcissism as well. I think that was an issue because I think that narcissism is supposed to be the fucking poster child for treating people like shit, right? The narcissists are the evil demons of the world. And we like them. They are like the lightning rod that just like, if you want to be abusive and horrible to somebody, quick, there's someone with NPD over here. Let it out on there. And I don't think that people would be, you know, I think the people with BPD would not like to really be associated with that. And the truth behind that one is tough titties. You are associated with that. I'm sorry. And if you don't, you know, the BPD stigma side of the fence is fucking nothing compared to the NPD side of the fence. The two do not compare. And so I also have this little bit of, oh, boo-hoo. Do people think you're manipulative sometimes with your BPD? Boo fucking who. You don't know the half of it. Right? You don't know the half of it. So there's also that. You know, again, it doesn't happen to me seemingly as much as I've known it happen to some other creators. But even I get the occasional comment telling me I'm evil. And that kind of thing. You know, it definitely happens. But it's, you know, it's weird. I see it in different contexts for the different sides of it. The NPD one, the narcissism side is much more generalized, right? And is much more mainstream. You have channels dedicated to hating us, right? Whole channels that do nothing but make videos about how horrible we are. And you don't get that with BPD. But I do still see it on an individual level, and I see some fucking horrible things. Usually do you know, bizarrely, it's usually surrounding things related to relationships. So I see people say some horrible things about exes, about current partners. I see people see horrible things on dating apps and relationship advice places and that sort of thing. And the most negative comments that come out on my videos that aren't necessarily directed at me personally, but are directed at the group, tend to be on the BPD relationship related videos. They're the ones. So it's, you generally get the feeling that it's a lot of people who have had a BPD boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever, and have dealt with that. And yeah, people put up with some shit. So why are we not saying it? You know, because what? Because people might not like us. I don't know. I've done some pretty unlikable shit. You know, I never know what's, you know, it kind of gobsmacks me. And I know that we're scared of just being not liked or being hated. And some of us are afraid, I think, honestly, I think some of us are afraid of like being single because of it and not getting laid because of it and that sort of thing. And in actual fact, I still think, fuck those people. They don't want you because you've got BPD. They're not someone that you need. You aren't gonna be healthy with a person like that in your life one way or another. So let them identify themselves and weed themselves out. Let them do that. Because it makes our life easier. That's where I am with that. But anyway, I am gonna leave it there for tonight. You guys have been awesome. I've been live since 8 o'clock, so next time, don't forget, live on TikTok at 8, live on YouTube at 9. TikTok's like a pre-show thing, and hopefully, like this time, I can get asked a question on TikTok and answer it on YouTube. And I pull some people over and that sort of thing. Although tonight, not so much. It's a very quiet night. But these things happen from time to time. The key is to just talk rubbish for an hour and a half, and you make it through. So I will be back tomorrow with more videos and stuff like that. And make sure you subscribed on TikTok. That's kind of where I do most of the lives. It's more fun on there. And for some reason,